Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of Married at First Sight, Season 16, Episode 18, What's Your Safe Word? I want to get started with Eris and Jasmine. Let's get started there. So when we see Eris and Jasmine, by the way, everybody's back home in Nashville from the little couples retreat that they all went to. Everybody's back home. So when we see Eris and Cameron, they are in the bed together and they're sitting there side by side and they're having a very boring conversation. And the funny thing about Eris is that as he is talking to Jasmine, he never makes eye contact. He's sitting there straight as a board and he's looking straight ahead as he's having a conversation with her. And she's sitting next to him, but she's totally engaged in the conversation. And she's, looking at him, looking at the side of his face because he refuses to turn his head to look at her as he's talking to her. He's just staring straight ahead. And once in a while, his eyes will flicker in her direction, but he won't necessarily turn his whole head and really engage in this conversation with her. So he's telling her that she's improving in her asserting herself and telling him when something is bothering her, what she likes, what she doesn't like. And so he's really proud of her that she's finally vocalizing, her likes and dislikes to him. She says that what she needs from him is for him to continue to provide a safe space for her to vocalize her likes and dislikes. So then he tells her that he would like for her to be more physical with him, to initiate a hug, to initiate a hand grab. And I get the feeling that Eris is somebody that feeds off of energy. And so if she was giving him some type of energy, like she was attracted to, well, she is attracted to him, but if she was the one that was initiating or making that first move, I think Eris would have fed off of that. I kind of think he would have, even though he talks about how he's not attracted to her or whatever the hell he was talking about. I think that if she was a little bit more flirtatious, because I always wondered, does she know how to be flirtatious? Because she seems like a very proper young lady and who's been taught that you never make the first move on a man. A man always has to be the one to make a first move on you, and you never let a man know that you want him or that you're in the mood. The man has to be the one to initiate. She seems like she comes from that school of thought. So he tells her that he would not have minded if she would have initiated some type of physical contact. And he tells her that because they had waited so long to be physical, now it's just extremely awkward for both of them. So later on, we see Jasmine. She's taking pole dancing classes with Gina. And during their class, Eris, surprises Jasmine with a visit. So Gina expeditiously leaves. And then this allows Jasmine to give a pole dance for Eris. And he came there with his ones and he was, throwing money at her, making it rain and all this and that, to kind of get things kickstarted, I guess. Hopefully, who the hell knows? So then because we hear Dr. Pepper's voice. So after all of that, we hear Dr. Pepper's voice. Dr. Pepper says, because Eris and Jasmine have progressed in their intimacy. And I was like, they have just because she did a little pole dance for him, they have progressed in their intimacy. So because they've progressed in their intimacy, the experts sent them a box of intimacy products. And we all know what that is. It's the feathers, it's the edible panties, it's the handcuffs and all this other stuff. So they take out the products and they use them, this and that. And, it's cringe time because, like I said before, whenever these moments happen, all I can imagine is that this is a room that's not just Eris and Jasmine trying to be intimate. This is a room full of people. There's cameramen, there's producers, there's all kinds of stuff going on. And here they are trying to act like they're creating this, very intimate romantic moment. So we know that it's not going to get very far. So as they're playing with the products or the toys that the experts gave them, he asks her, does she see herself as being like a dominatrix? And she says, oh, I don't know, maybe I could. And so then he tells her, slap me. And so she gives him like a little tap on the face. And he's like, no, slap me harder. So she slaps him a little bit harder. And he's like, no, I can take it harder than that. And she was like, harder than that? And so she slaps him pretty hard. And he was like, do it again, but this time look at me in my eye. And at that moment, it really looked like Eris was trying to he was trying to make her do the kind of things that turn him on. And it seems like he probably likes a woman who is assertive, a woman who's not afraid to initiate, a woman who knows how to talk her shit, you know what I mean? A woman who could be probably a little bit aggressive in the bedroom, and that's probably what he likes. Now I don't know if he's ever vocalized this to her, or if he just assumed because she comes across as very quiet and meek, he just assumed that she will never be that way, so we can never connect on that level. But when he told her to slap him and he said slap me harder and look me in my eye, I was like, oh, so that's what he's into. He's into that aggressiveness, and he doesn't mind a woman showing her aggressive side when it comes to being intimate. And I don't know if Jasmine picked up on that. I have no idea if she picked up on that or not, but that's the way to get into his pants, is to, show a little bit of assertiveness. And I don't know if Jasmine has it in her. I have no idea. So I don't know what happened after that, but we shall see. But then later on after that, they go see a medium. And the medium talked about how they're compatible, that this could be a great relationship, that he's good for her and she's good for him. And the medium said that she could see Eris's deceased great grandmother from the other side, and the great grandmother is approving of Jasmine and wants Eris to settle down and start a family, and the great grandmother likes Jasmine, and so all this stuff. And I'm just like, y'all, it's too little too late. They're supposed to be giving their decision in less than a week. It is too little too late. What they're trying to do right now in warp speed, I don't think is going to help or work because they don't have any time to really connect on a more closer level, on a more intimate level. They just don't have enough time for that. They've wasted 2 months of this experiment, completely wasted 2 months of this experiment. Now it's, we're approaching the end and they're trying to make things work. And I just don't see it. If they end up saying yes on decision day because they want to hunch on each other after decision day, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. It will not. It's not going to last. I don't see it lasting at all, one bit, but whatever. So I didn't agree with the medium. I don't think that Jasmine and Eris are made for each other. I don't think that they're good for one another. I think that I don't think they're good for one another at all. I think that Jasmine deserves a man who can appreciate her as she is. She doesn't have to turn into anything that she's not. She doesn't have to do anything that she's not comfortable doing, that's just not in her. She is not that type. She's not a dominatrix. She's not the kind of girl who's going to slap her man around in bed and look him in the eye. That's just not her. And he can't turn her into that. And when they talk about, and they've talked about this before in this, previously in previous episodes, they talk about how, well, after decision day, we can, we can be intimate or whatever the hell they talk about. That doesn't make any sense. I need them to explain to me, what does that mean? So does that mean that y'all are going to say yes on decision day and then, try to sleep with one another to see if it can work out? Or are y'all going to say no on decision day and still try to sleep with one another after decision day? If Jasmine has any ounce of pride and self-worth, she will not do that. She will not do that, because he's basically telling her, I want to be able to sleep with you without any strings attached, without any consequences, without any accountability. I want to try it out, see if I like it or not, and then we'll go from there. And if I like it, I want to continue to sleep with you, but I'm not going to promise you a relationship. I'm not going to promise you love. That's what I'm hearing when Eris talks about they can explore intimacy after decision day. And if they do say yes, And if they're serious about trying to make the marriage work, okay, fine, whatever. But she should not, if they say no, she should not see this man after decision day. She shouldn't do it. Absolutely hell to the no. If she has any self worth, she won't do it. Moving on to Clint and Gina. So Clint meets up with McKinley. Now, this was a very troublesome visit for me, because McKinley talking about how he finds Gina attractive and that Gina finds him attractive and that they should have been the ones to match. It did not sit well with me at all. McKinley looked like like a really horrible person to say that. He was saying that to us. He didn't say it to Clint. He was saying it to us. And even if Clint wouldn't care whether or not McKinley and Gina hooked up, if it didn't really matter to him because he's not interested in Gina, you shouldn't do it. You shouldn't do it. I just didn't like how it left a really bad taste in my mouth to hear McKinley talk about Gina in that way. Like, y'all are not like friends in real life, but y'all were co-workers and associates or cast members. And this man was married to that woman. And regardless of what the hell was going on in their marriage, you can't sit up here on this camera and talking to this camera in your confessional, talking about how you've been lusting after her this whole entire time. And she may have been lusting after you. I didn't like it. I don't know where that's going. We'll find out next week, but I did not like that. So Gina convinces Clint to get a haircut, and he gets the haircut. And Gina says in her confessional that even though he got a haircut, it does not necessarily mean it's gonna lead to anything. So why'd you make him get a haircut? Why did you make him get a haircut then? Because she has been bothering this man about his damn hair. And yeah, she's a salon owner, a hair salon owner. So hair is everything to her. Hair is her business. And this is supposedly, her husband, and there's a potential of them staying together forever. But what does it matter? What the hell does it matter what the hell his hair looks like? If he's not comfortable and he likes his hair long and shaggy and he likes that 70s look, that's his prerogative. He lives underneath that hair. So the fact that she was constantly harping, it really bothers me when Gina wants to criticize Clint. Clint is not a poster boy for anything. Clint has done his dirt in this whole situation. And I'm not saying that Clint is perfect in any way, but I don't see him criticizing her as much as she's criticizing him. I don't hear him talk about, her looks or her hair or her clothes or anything like that. But she'll find a way to always work in the things about him, the superficial things about him that she just does not like. Okay, moving on. So he gets his haircut, and so, he goes, they say he goes from Jesus to Bradley Cooper. I don't know if he was 100% comfortable. I didn't mind how he looked. Okay. I didn't mind how he looked, but I don't know if he was 100% comfortable with that haircut. And then he's going to go and cut his hair, and she's probably still not going to want to be with him. And she's probably still going to make fun of him. So they get a visit from Dr. Pepper and Pastor Cal. So Dr. Pepper asked them, did you do any of the things that I asked y'all to do? Which was, she wanted them to watch movies that would evoke some type of emotion in them, because they're very platonic. They have no emotional connection, no emotional attachment to one another whatsoever. Everything is platonic. Everything is surface. Everything is friend level. So they tell Dr. Pepper that no, they didn't watch any of the movies, and Dr. Pepper was upset about that. She's like, so what the hell did I come here for if y'all are not going to listen to me and do what I asked y'all to do to help y'all's marriage? So, Clint tries to BS her by talking about, well, we didn't have enough time. And Dr. Pepper was like, well, if I told you, if you did ABCD to get to $1,000 to get to $3,000, you'll find the time to make that happen. So miss me with, we don't have enough time. So there's no feelings that have developed because the experts asked them, have things changed? Have things progressed? And they're both like, no, we don't feel anything for one another. Dr. Pepper asked, why were they so touchy-feely at the damn wedding if they absolutely have no attraction? And they said that they were just going through the motions at the wedding. They were doing the things that was expected of them to do. And I call BS on that. I call total BS on that, because not only were they touchy-feely at the wedding, but there were moments in the very, very beginning when not in the very, very beginning, after the honeymoon, but after they moved in with one another, there were times when Gina would talk a little bit more positively about Clint and talk as if there could have been some potential between them. At some point, I remember her saying this. So they said that, well, we were touchy-feely at the wedding because, we were just going through the motions, but there was no feelings behind any of that. There was no attraction behind any of that. And y'all are some great actors then. Y'all are some really good actors, because we have seen weddings where there was no attraction between the two people, and we have seen the awkwardness of it. Now, they were not falling all over each other, but it didn't seem that awkward. It didn't seem that forced. I mean, they seemed to kind of like naturally gravitate towards one another at their wedding, like any other couple. And when you want to talk about going through the motions, don't they all go through the motions because they don't know each other? It's not like for a lot of them, there isn't like this, overwhelming feeling of attraction. For most of these couples, when they first see each other, there is that awkwardness, and they are trying to just kind of like figure it out. And they all go through the motions of, okay, now we got to kiss. Now we have to sit close to one another. Now we have to take pictures and look like we're in love in these photos, because a normal bride and groom would be. So they all go through that. So why would y'all be any different? I think the problem with Gina and Clint was that damn honeymoon, and Gina sabotaging this relationship by talking about his damn red hair, and then him feeling like he had to give her a taste of her own medicine and talk about her body. They have never recovered from that. So Clint talks about how they do have a lot in common. They're both very business minded. They're both very motivated with their careers. But the problem is there is no physical attraction. So for Gina, she says that not only is there no physical attraction, but she also has an issue with his damn personality. She acknowledges that, yes, he is the life of the party and he is funny. But, sometimes it gets to the point where it gets kind of cringy, and, there's secondhand embarrassment. And I'm like, girl, you're probably the only one that feels that. You're the only one that feels that, and you're probably just trying to find something to talk negatively about this man, because I don't see anything just abhorrently wrong with Clint. I don't know what she sees. I think that she is really picking apart this man and trying to find something, a morsel, a scintilla, a grain of something to criticize this man over. I mean, he's very respectful to her. He doesn't push himself on her. He hasn't totally neglected her. It's not like he stays out, because I'm pretty sure living with Gina is no walk in the park. He's not like he tries to avoid coming home and he's out all night, because we have seen that there have been husbands on this show that don't come home, or they come home extremely late. And I don't know what else. I don't know what her problem is. So when she was talking about how, his personality was weird, and she said that she doesn't feel like a wife, and that she never felt pursued by him. And she probably never felt pursued by him because I don't think he felt comfortable doing that, because every chance that she gets, she talks about the awkwardness. She talks about him being cringy. She doesn't say anything to let this man think that there's any possibility of her ever being attracted to him. So I don't know how he can pursue her and be loving with her and be romantic with her when she's very standoffish and she's very distant with him. And it shows, even when they're supposed to be getting along and things are looking a little bit better. She's always the one that's more awkward than he is. She's always the one that you feel like she's shrinking away from him. So Clint says that he does things for her. He says, I try to do things to let her know that I appreciate her. And so I try to do things for her. For example, I cook for her. And so when he said that, Gina stopped him immediately. And she was like, I don't mean to cut you off, but you do not cook for me. You cook for you. Which I don't know if that's true or not, that when he cooks, he only is cooking for himself. But I do remember at one of the after party shows, I think it was Eris that said, how Clint will call Gina and let her know that he made dinner, and then she will grab something to eat on the way home and not eat what he cooked. So if he only cooks for himself and himself only, why would he let her know that he cooked? You know what I mean? And I don't think that Clint would be opposed if she would have suggested or said to him, oh, I prefer this type of meal, or this is my favorite food, or whatever. I don't think he'd be opposed to that. And, to cook something that she might like if whatever he's cooking is absolutely terrible and it's something that to her is, she can't eat it. I don't think he'd be opposed because he loves to cook. So I don't think it would bother him if she would tell him what she would prefer to eat for dinner. So you're sitting there not saying anything, not expressing anything. So he's going to do what the hell he wants to do because you're not saying anything. And okay, should he ask her, hey, what do you want me to cook tonight? Yeah, that'd be great if he did ask her that. But she probably responds with, I don't know, whatever. So Clint says, okay, so he says he cooks for her. She's like, okay, you only cook for yourself. You don't really cook for me. And Clint felt kind of blindsided about all the things that she had said to the experts. The thing about how his personality is cringy to her and he only cooks for himself. I just don't see anybody with any decency making a meal when it's just the two of y'all in that damn house. I don't see anybody who's like, you know what, I'm only going to cook for myself. And, if she wants some, she can have some. If she don't, she don't. I think he does when he's cooking. I think he has in mind that he's cooking for the both of them because he cooked for everybody else. When they do their little couples retreat and they're all together, he'll cook for everybody else. So why would he all of a sudden just cook for himself when it's just the two of them? I think he doesn't have a problem making a little bit extra for her. Now, the issue is, does she like what he cooks? Does she want what he cooks? That's solvable. Okay, you can just tell him what you prefer to eat. But moving on, Shaquille and Kirsten. So Kirsten meets up with her brother. Kirsten says they don't have her and Shaquille do not have intentional conversations. So her brother asked her, what do you mean by intentional? And she says, well, we're not talking about plans for the future. Like, what do we do after decision day? We're not talking about, living arrangements. We're not talking about finances or, how we're going to blend our two lives together after decision day. She says that he's not trying to win her over. He's not pursuing her, trying to, to try to do things to make her happy or to please her or whatever. She's spoiled. In my personal opinion, it's just my opinion, and I could be 1,000% wrong. In my personal opinion, I think that Kirsten is spoiled. I think she's spoiled. I think she's used to getting her way. I think she's used to men falling all over for her. And Shaquille is the kind of guy that he's like, you know what? Even though you're beautiful, I'm not going to play that game. Shaquille is the kind of guy that probably wants to be pursued himself. Shaquille just comes across to me like I'm not going to give her, what she wants and what she's asking for just because, she's a pretty girl. She's going to have to fight for my attention. And he probably would respond if she were to tell him, oh, you're not pursuing me and you're not spoiling me and you're not. He probably turn around and tell her, well, you're not pursuing or spoiling me either. The brother says that Shaquille has got too much going on because he's in school, he's working, he has a marriage to maintain, and that he's spreading himself too thin and that he needs to make more time for Kirsten. And so then they talk about the whole family situation, which I don't know how this has turned into such a big deal between these two people, because Shaquille has been wanting to meet the rest of her family, the members of her family that were not at the wedding. Really, he wants to meet her father. And why she's keeping her father hidden from Shaquille, I don't understand. But she tells her brother that she is going to finally let him meet the rest of her family. So then the next thing that we see is Shaquille FaceTiming one of his homeboys. And Shaquille says that he is trying to balance marriage, school, work, and all of that. And he says that they're both growing, but they're not growing together. And he talks about the whole family thing, like he really wants to meet her damn family. So then we see them preparing dinner, and Kirsten has invited her family over to dinner. Now, she had said that she was only going to let him meet when she was with her brother. I think she said that, because she told her brother, oh, I'm so glad that you were able to get time away from work to meet Shaquille or to spend time with me and Shaquille, but it's just going to be you and mommy coming over. And then I heard her say to her brother that at a later date, Shaquille was going to be able to meet her father. And that's when her brother said something like, yeah, and he better get ready because, daddy's going to, like really scrutinize him and really put him through the test. What happened to that? What happened to meeting daddy? What happened to meeting the brother? So the day of, she tells Shaquille that her brother had to work and that it was just going to be her mom. And when it looked like her mom came straight from work. But before we get there, we're not even there yet. Okay, so they're preparing dinner because her mom and her brother were supposed to be coming over for dinner, but the brother had to go to work or whatever, and now she's going to be the mom. So Shaquille is like very confused. He's like, I'm not understanding how this was supposed to be a family dinner, but all of a sudden it turned into just her mom coming over. So she made these promises. She knew that she wasn't going to deliver. She knew all along that this man was not going to meet her whole entire family. It was not going to happen, or wasn't even going to meet her dad. Kirsten knew that. She led this man on. So, okay, so Shaq was asking, what's taking her so long, because I don't know what happened. She was lost in the parking garage, but he finally found her. So, no, that wasn't the question. The question was, what took her so long to allow him to meet her family? Now, what took the mom so long to show up at the apartment? So he was like, why would it take so long for me to meet the rest of your family? And she goes, scheduling conflict. And he was like, so in this whole entire 2 months that we've been married, nobody could take time off from work to meet me. And she was like, that's right. They work. Scheduling conflict. Okay. So then Shaquille was like, you know what? It has to be something deeper than that. So, she stuck with what she stuck with scheduling conflict, and she wasn't going to change. So Kirsten tells Shaquille that she needs more attention, and it seems like he doesn't want to be there with her. And then they show us a montage of them just kind of like, two ships passing through the night. They were just like she comes home from work and he goes straight to the bedroom, where she's laying on the couch and they're barely talking. And it's just the montage from their security camera. And there's not a lot of interaction, like he's by himself, she's by herself. They don't really interact a lot. And it's just the strangest thing. I don't know if they just picked those moments to prove her point, or if this is how they're really living. If this is how they're really living, where there's no interaction between them, he comes home from work, barely says anything to her, and goes straight into the back room. If that's how they're really living, then yeah, this is a big hell no on decision day. This is a big no, because this doesn't make any sense. There's no conversation or anything. So while they're preparing dinner and she brings this up, how it seems like he doesn't even really want to be there, he kind of looks at her. The look on his face told me, in my opinion, like, damn well why I don't talk to you. That's how he looked to me. Like, damn well what our problem really is. And Shaquille has said that she's different on camera and off camera. He has said that when she's not on camera, she's not that loving. She's not that into the marriage. She's not that into him. He said that. So I'm not understanding why but then the footage showed him not talking to her. So yeah, I don't know what's going on between Shaquille and Kirsten, but it's bad. It's really bad. So, after that, they go to church together, and they're sitting in this empty church. I guess it was after service. I don't know. It was this empty church, and they're sitting there, just the two of them. And by the way, it was really cute though when he was putting her heels on for her before they left the apartment to go to church. That was cute. So they're sitting in this church, and they're talking about how they're trying to strengthen their spiritual connection. And I'm thinking to myself, why? Because y'all can't. Every other type of connection hasn't worked. Y'all can't connect physically, mentally, intellectually. Y'all can't connect. All the other connections have failed. And so now y'all are like, well, let's try to connect spiritually. Let's see if that's going to work. So this scene of them sitting in this empty church together, they both looked great, by the way. They both looked really good. It made me sad because it was like watching these two people who have tried everything to make the relationship work, and it's just not working. And so now they have to rely on divine intervention for them to have some type of a connection. It made me really sad. Like they were at their wits' end, and they're like, look, you've tried, I've tried, and it's still not working. So we got to, go to the Lord and let the Lord handle and give it to God and see what he can do with this. So then after that, it's family time, right? And the brother does not show up. It's just the mother. And I swear to God, it looked like the mom just came from work. It looked like she had put in a whole 12 hours at her job. And now she's here having dinner with her daughter and her son-in-law. And she looked beat to me. She looked so tired. But she played along. She did what she had to do. And they talk about their issues and how Shaquille said that he thought it was weird. Okay, no, Shaquille, what did Shaquille say? Shaquille said that he doesn't feel like he doesn't feel like he's at his best right now. He talks about these guards that, Kirsten first had her guards up, then she took them down, then I had my guards up. And so, we're not really connecting. And then Shaquille acting like he's really not interested in Kirsten. Kirsten tells her mom that she feels like he's not interested in her. So the mom says what they need to do is they need to let go of expectations and just enjoy each other. And the mom says they need to just relax and that love comes from living, not expecting. And I was like, come on, Mama Kirsten, come on with the knowledge. I love that because that's what I've been preaching since day one. When it comes to married, every season I say the same thing. Don't live from expectations, like what you expect the other to do on decision day, what you expect the other person to do here. And just enjoy the moment, get to know each other, try to have as good of a time with one another as you possibly can, because the moment is short. Before you know it, it's decision day and you know nothing of your partner, or y'all have done nothing to really try to connect. Just live life, like the way y'all would live if y'all were dating or just, first moving in together. Just live life. Don't talk about decision day. Don't talk about what you expect after decision day. Don't talk about none of that stuff. Just live life. Do activities, have a good time together, spend as much time with one another as possible. Talk about your hopes, your dreams, your failures, your successes, your past. Tell each other funny stories. Live life. Be in the moment. Stop being like, okay, in the future when this happens and then when that happens and on decision day and then after decision day. Stop all of that. Just get to know each other like you would in a normal relationship. Forget that y'all are married. Maybe that's what bothers them, is that they're living under this marriage umbrella and they have an idea, I guess, of what marriage really is, and they're trying to mold their relationships into what they think a marriage is. No one has ever been married. No one has a clue on what a marriage is. And instead of just getting to know each other, it's like, okay, we're going to act like we're married, but we don't know what to do. No, just be two people living in one home who are getting to know each other. Just pretend that y'all had just met, y'all liked each other and decided to move in with one another, but y'all are really boyfriend and girlfriend and y'all are getting to know each other. Just pretend like that's what it is, instead of like, oh, we're married, we're husband and wife, and what are we going to do on decision? Anyways, moving on. So when the mom said that, when she gave them that advice, I was like, too little, too late, Mama Kirsten. Too little, too damn late. Because their problems are deep. Kirsten and Shaquille, their problems are deep. And I think Shaquille is over Kirsten. And I think when the camera's on, Kirsten puts on her baby doll voice and wants to make Shaquille look like the big bad wolf and that she's done all that she could to make it work when she probably could care less as well. Moving on to Chris and Nicole. What is there to say about Chris and Nicole? They're the golden couple. They don't have any issues. There's no problem. Okay, Nicole is talking about. So first of all, last week when they were at miniature golf and Nicole was like losing her mind because she was losing at miniature golf. If I was Chris, that'd be a huge red flag. A huge red flag that someone can get so worked up over a game. That's one thing I'm not going to tolerate. I will not tolerate that at all, because we're just here for the experience. This is not a competition. This is not the miniature golf Olympics. We're just here for fun. So what's wrong with you? Why are you getting so worked up over a damn game? And then she talks about, I don't know why she would even mention this, but she's like, yeah, I've been known to throw over Monopoly boards. Why would you mention that to somebody, Nicole? What's wrong with you? You get that worked up over some damn board games? Lord have mercy. So I don't know why he didn't take that as a red flag, but she really does need to work on that. And so Chris meets up with his brother and he talks about how Nicole, her personality is a lot more intense than his. Chris just says everything so diplomatically. He says things so diplomatically. What he really is saying is that I've never met anyone who is this emotionally intense, and I don't know what the hell to do. I don't know how to handle it. But anyways, he says that her personality is very intense, but they balance each other off. He always has to end it on a positive note. And then he says that Nicole needs to work on being less critical of herself. Nicole is FaceTiming her dad. The dad, we all know that in the beginning he was not on board. He did not like Chris. He thought Chris was a loser. But as he got to know him more and saw how the relationship has grown, now the father is in full support of them being together. So then Nicole talks about their living situation because Nicole is stressed out about if they're going to be living together or not. Chris had told her that he was not in a rush to live together right away after decision day. He didn't say he didn't want to live with her. He just said like there's no rush to it. So the dad says, if y'all are not living together after decision day, then y'all are taking a step back. And it's not going to look right if y'all don't live together after decision day, because either y'all are in or you're not. And if you're not living together, then y'all are not all in with this marriage. So I know that's going to put a whole lot more pressure and stress on your girl, Nicole. One more thing about Clint and Gina. When they were talking to Dr. Pepper about how they hadn't watched any of the movies that they had recommended, I was looking at them and they looked like they could care less. They were like, we really don't care about your damn movies, Dr. Pepper. We're just here for the experience of being on TV. And hopefully, we can market ourselves and this can help us in our careers in some way, or it can help us with our social media platforms. That's what we're really here for. We don't really give a damn about this marriage, about watching Driving Miss Daisy or Fried Green Tomatoes or whatever the hell she recommended. We don't care. We don't give a damn. We're just here for the experience and this is going to benefit us individually, not collectively, because after decision day, we don't want to see each other ever again. So, Dr. Pepper, sweetheart, you're wasting your time. They don't want to be with one another. They're not going to say yes on decision day. So, Dr. Pepper, I'm sorry. You were just wasting your damn time. And y'all come in for this second visit or whatever. The two of y'all come in, you and Pastor Cal come in for this visit. A waste of time. Gina and Clint don't see it for each other in that way. They never have. They never will. They're over it. They're done with it. They're just here for the experience, not for marriage. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. On your way out, please don't forget to rate the video. If you like this content, go ahead and subscribe, and I will definitely talk to you later. Bye.